Joseph's story is one of the most powerful examples in the Bible of how God can turn betrayal into blessing. It begins with a dream. Joseph was a young man when God gave him a vision of his future, a vision that one day he would rise. But instead of bringing encouragement, that dream created tension. His brothers became jealous, they resented him, and eventually their jealousy turned into betrayal. One day they took Joseph and threw him into a pit. Then they sold him into slavery. In a single moment, Joseph's life changed. From favored son to slave, from dreams of greatness to a future that looked broken. And if you were looking at Joseph's life in that moment, you might think, this is the end. But even in the betrayal, God was working. Joseph became a servant in the house of Potiphar. Despite everything, Joseph remained faithful. And the Bible says the Lord was with Joseph, even in slavery, even in hardship, even when nothing made sense. God was still with him. But then, another setback. Joseph was falsely accused and thrown into prison. Again, his life took a turn that made no sense. He did the right thing, and still suffered. But even in the prison, the Bible says the Lord was with Joseph. God's presence is not limited to easy seasons. God is with you in the pit. He is with you in the prison. He is with you. While in prison, he interpreted dreams for Pharaoh's servant. Joseph asked him to remember him, but he was forgotten. More waiting, more silence. Years passed, and still, Joseph waited. But then, everything changed. Pharaoh had a troubling dream, and no one could interpret it. Suddenly, the servant remembered Joseph. In one moment, Joseph was brought out of prison and stood before Pharaoh. He interpreted the dream and revealed a great famine was coming. Because of his wisdom, Joseph was placed in charge of Egypt. In a single day, Joseph went from prison to the palace, from forgotten to favored, from betrayal to blessing. But the story doesn't end there. Years later, during the famine, Joseph's brothers came seeking food, the same ones who sold him. Joseph stood in a position of power. He could take revenge, but instead, he chose forgiveness. He said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." That one sentence explains everything. God didn't stop the hardship, but he worked through it. God took every painful moment and turned it into purpose. Joseph's story teaches us, your setback is not the end. Your pain is not wasted, and your story is not over. If you feel like you're in the pit right now, or stuck in a prison season, remember Joseph. The same God who was with him is with you. Your story may not make sense right now, but God is still writing it, and what he is preparing will be worth the wait.